What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the new action comedy Copshop, starring Frank Grillo, Gerard Butler, Alexis Louder, and directed by Joe Carnahan. The story for this one goes like this. Wily con artist Teddy Murretto hatches a desperate plan to hide out from lethal hitman Bob Viddick. He sucker punches a police officer to get himself arrested and locked up in a small town police station. But jail can't protect Murretto for long. Viddick schemes his own way into detention, biding his time in a nearby cell until he can complete his mission. I'll start this one by saying that I think Joe Carnahan gets a little bit slept on as a director. I wouldn't say that any of his films are particularly great, but he's shown that he's able to dance around a couple of different genres really well and knows how to execute action scenes and comedic scenes with a signature style. A lot of people don't really know his name, but he's behind the camera on films like Smokin' Aces, The Gray, The A-Team, and Boss Level. When it comes to his comedic outings, creating movie worlds that don't take themselves too seriously has always been his forte and a major strength for him as a storyteller. It's the perfect setup for this type of movie. Killer action sequences and some genuine running gags along the way, and he brings that trademark with him in Copshop. When it comes to the cast, Frank Grillo has been getting so much better at what he is. Instead of always playing the insanely ripped villain that's a great fighter, has a bunch of goons, and never gets his ass kicked, it seems like he's been much more open to getting beat up and being the butt of the joke in recent years. You can kind of see him morphing into this new, very self-aware actor in recent films such as The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard and Boss Level, which I enjoyed a lot and is also directed by Joe Carnahan. I think Gerard Butler has become a lot more self-aware for the better later on in his career too. Rather than just being a big brute of a badass, he still takes roles that have that persona, but there's a touch of comedy and quirkiness to them now too. It works much better now, and it's much more fun to see him on screen, acting alongside these characters that look down on him and find him a little bit pathetic. And to round it out, I really liked what Alexis Louder brought to the table here, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever project she does next. She ends up essentially being the lead in this film. Her character is smart, courageous, and calm, and I genuinely felt that she could handle herself, no matter what twists or turn these two killers threw at her along the way. Not only that, but she does a great job of putting these two ultra macho, muscled up crooks in their place. One thing I'll say too is that there's another character that shows up about halfway through the film that adds another layer of thrills to the movie and helps spice it up a bit. It was a really good decision to have that happen. The plot is super simple, so a lot of it had been explored and it took us as far as we could go with it. So the addition of this extra psychopathic character helps to keep the movie from getting stale and dragging on. You'll know just from seeing the opening credits of this one that it is super 80s inspired by action comedies and buddy cop movies. The cuts that are used, the music, and the huge guns that wouldn't make sense to use in real life anymore are all direct homage to something like a Dirty Harry. What's most interesting about this film to me though is that it's staged like a play. I know that it sounds ridiculous that a Gerard Butler movie might be well suited for Broadway, but hear me out first. A lot of the film takes place in a police holding cell. One person locked up on one side of the room, another locked up on the other side of the room, and the police officer in the middle figuring out who's full of crap once she realizes what's really going on here. Not to mention that there's a clock ticking down that we are unaware of what will eventually happen when it gets down to zero. All of these things combine to create higher stakes and a more tension-filled experience. It's almost doing an impression of a more modern Hateful Eight, and I'm not really mad about it. It's just a fun plot in general too. And if you haven't seen a trailer for this one, I won't speak too much more on it, and I'd suggest you go into this one as blind as possible. You'll have way more fun with it. However, like a lot of recent movies that have these chaotic action sequences and bullet-filled plots, the movie loses some serious steam in the end when it's time to present a meaningful conclusion, and I wasn't too big of a fan of the way the whole thing wrapped up. Copshop gets a Sully score of 7.0. I was genuinely surprised by this one. This might be the most surprising movie of the year. Not because it's so good, but because I thought it was gonna be next level bad and it proved me wrong. So that's my review of Copshop. Let me know if you're gonna go check this one out in the comments below. And if you like new movie reviews, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so I know that you like this type of content. And I'll see you guys at the next video.